G'day everyone, Jason Nunn, Fisherman's Warehouse Marine, Sweet Street at Warners Bay, your Newcastle Honda marine dealer, and of course the last day of 2025, New Year's Eve tonight. Fittingly, we're up at Swansea Heads at the present moment. You can see the bar actually behind me here. As we came in, doesn't look too bad now. I'm hoping that there's a bit more swell pretty soon, so you get a bit of an idea. It's basically been breaking all the way across the bar, particularly today, on this run-out tide, which came through about midday. So these are the things you've got to be very, very careful of this time of year. And it's sort of strange. I mean, the wind has been very strong for the last few days out of the southeast, but we've got this bit of a swell off that low that's off New Zealand pushing in. So the swell itself's probably a little bit more east. So you've got to have a bit of a look at it. There's a few boats milling around over here up near Sunken Breakwater, having a good look at it. So these are the dangers associated with the bar crossings at Swansea Channel. So I'm going to get into this report straight away, guys, as everyone's still on holidays and itching to get. We're going to start out wide first. Water temp out wide, almost 24 degrees. A couple of the boys went out yesterday. No marlin outside at all. From Nelson Bay all the way down to basically the southern canyons. Very, very quiet. There was bits of bait out there. It looked good, but there just wasn't anything happening. The fish, however, seemed to be on the farm. So we spoke about this probably a week and a half ago. A lot of bait between 35 and 50 fathoms. And this is where there's quite a few marlin at the moment, in and around 70 to 100 metres of water. And there's the odd dolphin fish with them, but I believe there's a mixture of the odd black marlin and a few striped marlin in there. So well worth having a look. If you can get a few baits, put a few live baits out or skip a few baits, fantastic. If not, just put a few lures out, but try to use your sort of like 8, 9, 10-inch lures. Use your smaller lures and move around. But there was a few of the boys got a few shots yesterday out here. I don't think anything was actually caught. And this hit and miss of these marlin at the present moment reminds me of black marlin more than anything else, but there are stripes in amongst them. So as this starts to settle down a little bit, probably Saturday into Sunday, the weather won't be too bad because the wind's actually due to come back around a little bit into the east-northeast. But Friday in particular, it's only going to be around about 10 knots, so providing the bar here's all right, it won't be too bad. But there's enough on offer if you're keen, and the trailer boats in particular will have no worries of actually getting it. They don't have to necessarily get to the shelf, but it's great to see things are happening. A little bit more of an increase, guys, also in bonito. Still a lot of little bonito around, but I'm getting some decent reports now that the numbers of bonito have still started to increase, which is great to see. And we're still seeing our normal fish on that inshore fishery, definitely trag, few reds of course, and moes and trevally. But it's nothing to sort of like, don't take any undue risks to get offshore, that is for sure. The beaches, there's a lot of swell at the moment on the beach, and that's supposed to abate in the next few days. That'll give guys the advantage to get back on the beaches and start chasing whiting and bream in particular. There have been a few mulloway on the beaches, and that is, you've got to think about it, Saturday night's the full moon. So we're now building into the full moon, and we've got some monster tides happening. In fact, on Sunday, nearly close enough to 10 a.m, you've got a 2.11 high tide. So the tides are starting to increase basically as of tomorrow into basically Tuesday of next week. We've still got those tides in and around about that 2 metre mark or better, in conjunction with your full tide. So there'll be a lot of tide movement, and those run-out tides, you're nearly looking at a tidal exchange, guys, of around about 1.6 to 1.7 metres. This is why I've come up here today to show you what the bar is doing. So if you get that big tidal exchange and we've got a bit of swell on the bar, very, very dangerous. Remember, you've got to wear a life jacket coming in and out. So mulloway on the beaches. If you want to go down the rocks, I wouldn't suggest it at the moment. There's a fair bit of swell, but if it settles down on the weekend with that nor'easter, definitely get down there and have a bit of a look. There's still a few drummer around, which they're always there, but there's definitely a few bream and of course a few bonito and small rat kings. I still think this is where it's at. There's a lot of boats here now gathering up on the last of the run-out tide. They've been getting a few bream in Salts Bay in particular, and definitely on the last of the tide has been the pick. There's been a lot of small kings at the bridge, and they've been building up. You've seen lots of Facebook posts and certainly lots of videos of what's going on. Most of the kings down at the bridge are undersized. So remember, they've got to be over 65 centimetres to be legal and definitely DPI have been a bit active down there, which is great to see. So just be aware of it, but lures more than live baits have been the pick. But there is the odd better fish amongst them, but it's a busy place, and really that run-in tide is definitely the pick. Some nice whiting in Swansea here as well, as there are a few trevally, but the mainstay fish for most of us at Christmas has definitely been flathead and brim. So a lot of good flathead in the lake at the present, still a lot in the channel, but the traffic is going to beat you. So I think you've got to move into the lake, lures in particular, or if you're up on holidays, definitely drifting with either pillies or whitebait. I think that'll really be the pick. But some nice flatties throughout the channel and into the lake, and some really good brim and whiting on the flats. And tube worms, of course, the only things to use. And if you're a visitor up here, there's only one place in Newcastle to get tubies. It's down at New Age. So they're the only guys that are supporting aquabait and obviously selling tube worms through on. They are the gun bait on the beach and definitely in the estuary as well. Been a few squid around and some mulloway in the lake. And again, the build up to the full moon is the way to go. Going to be a wrap up on the tides for you guys as well. Obviously tomorrow being New Year's Day, high tide is 7 a.m. and your low tide's almost 1 o'clock, a bit after 1. But on Saturday, it's basically an 8:50 high tide, which will be 2.06 metres, so quite a big tide, and a 3:40 low tide on Saturday afternoon. Hopefully this starts to back down, guys, and it won't be too bad for guys wanting to head offshore. There are a few kings on the lake as well, and still down rigging is really going to be the pick. You might get the odd king if you're trolling a few lures, guys, but I really do think getting some live squid when we're down at Murray's or at the drop over, get them in early. You've got to be really early in the morning to get them, or even go down into the channel and then take them back up and down rig them. I reckon you'll have a good time. But all in all, guys, a bit of a quick wrap up today just to give everyone a bit of an idea. We're back to work on Friday, of course, and the report will start again next Thursday. We'll have the norm. Be careful if you're crossing the bar. Good luck. Happy New Year, and I'll see you next week.